Alright, 2004 Mercury Grand Marquis. As you can see, this is the LS edition. It's got the door code. It's actually the Ultimate Edition, if you can see that. And it's got some chip paint right here, but I mean, it's old. Got some chip paint on the roof, some rust. Let's open it and see the interior. First, I'm going to go into the back. It's got a pretty good amount of leg room. It's got these pockets in the back of the seats. Sorry if I'm adjusting the camera a lot. It's got power locks, but this one and the driver's side one do not work. And then those two doors stick, which is awesome. It's got a 3-person bench seat. This has not been opened in a long time. Wow. I just realized that. It's got that. You can bring that down. It's got these lights here. It's got, it's got a lot of room. Even if you were to sit in the middle, still got a lot of room. Maybe you can put your legs up there. These come up. So let's check out the front. Got a nice, leather wood grain steering wheel. It complements the rest of the interior very well. It's got the wood grain with the Grand Marquis. You got the leather, nice little dashboard, nice little mirror, and it has night vision, the mirror. Power locks, but as you can see, doesn't really work. It works on those two. Doesn't really work. Power seats, which is nice. This is kind of coming off, but everything still works. As you can see, that still works. That still works. It's got AC. That doesn't actually exactly work. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Same with the radio. It's got a glove box, as all of them do. Up and down. Open up the cup holders. These cup holders are very roomy. Very good cup holders. Hold a lot. It's got a little cigarette lighter thing. And then down here is where you'd plug in a phone charger. Let's turn this baby on. And open up the hood. The hood comes open down here. That's an engine. 4.6 liter V8, I believe. Hey, the hood shocks still work. It's a little rusty and dusty and old. As you can see, I'm getting it on my fingers there. Makes a little bit of a noise, but nothing we can't deal with. Now, let's hop in and play with the interior while it's actually on. So as you can see there, 358,567.2 miles. That's pretty awesome. Average fuel economy is about 18.6. This usually gets, I want to say 17 city. I think it's 17 city, 24 highway. But, I mean, this thing's old, so it's not going to get all that. It's got a nice push down parking brake. Release it like that. You can turn the traction control on and off. It's got pedals that move back and forth. Not sure if you can even see that, but that's pretty cool. AC doesn't exactly work. If you leave it on vent for long enough, eventually it comes on, but sometimes it doesn't work. The radio, flashing phone, and when you turn it on, a atrocious. Sometimes the clock doesn't even work, so that's awesome. Nothing else works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The windows do work. I don't want to open them too much. And then that one. So yeah, I'm gonna shut my mouth and windshield wipers. Let's kind of hit that a little bit, clean up the windshield. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking for a little bit. Well, stop talking about the car and just start moving. It is 63 degrees outside, but it's like Florida 63 degrees. So you hop in the car and it's gonna be really hot outside. Let's pull up the windows for now. Not really gonna be going that fast. Now, make our way through the parking lot. Yep, sometimes you gotta kind of just go. So this is a 4.6 liter V8. I believe I want to say the Crown Vic has the same engine, the same era, because I mean both Ford, and I'm pretty sure, I mean that's obvious, but I'm pretty sure that's the same engine they used in the Mustangs as well. So this, my friends, has a Mustang engine. Yay. I mean, the problems I'm gonna get into this car with, you know, the 358,000 miles is, you know, the chipping paint, dent in the back, radio not working, AC not working. What else can I think of? Locks not really working, doors sticking. The lumbar not working, the seat, you know, kind of coming apart, driver's seat. Those are the only ones I can think of right now, but there's definitely more. So this thing puts out 224 horsepower with that V8. Even though it's a luxury car, it still has some power. So don't underestimate this thing. Now, this thing does have a lot of power. I believe it's around 270 or 275, 272, one of those foot-pounds of torque, or pound-feet, I forget which one it is all the time. I think it's pound-feet. I think everybody thinks it's foot-pound, but it's actually pound-feet. So, yeah, you can really get off the line in this thing, and you know, it has the, you know, 1 and 2 for pulling, so you could actually pull with this car if you really wanted to. I'm not sure what you would pull in, you know, a Grand Marquis LS Ultimate Edition, but if you had one of the other versions, you might want to pull something. Now, what I'm going to do, open up the window a little bit, and then, actually, you know what? Really step on the gas. Man, we went up from, you know, 55 to almost 75 in that small amount of time, and You know, this thing gets moving. There's no doubt about it. These this era of Crown Vics and Grand Marquis and stuff, they had a lot of power, and driving this around it's just a pleasure. It's not really something you would consider, or maybe you would, but it handles well, but you wouldn't really take this on a spirited drive. It's more of a, the way I'm driving right now, just a nice cruise down the street, around the city. You can take it on bends and curves and you'll have a lot of fun, but again, it's not the most agile and amazing, handling car. It is still a sedan, one of those boats of the 2000s. Now the wheel is very responsive. There's really no play. It's probably hard to see because the camera has stabilization, but it responds it's very, very sensitive. It responds like instantly, very, very responsive. It's just an incredible feeling being able to, it's weird to say this, but such responsive and light steering is, in such a heavy car. I believe this is 4,000 pounds or something akin to that, and it's, it feels light, and it doesn't feel like a car that's, bogged down by all that weight. So it's pretty heavy compared to, a hatchback or one of those that you can actually feel super light in, but it doesn't feel heavy. It's got that luxury feeling that it was going for, and I think that's why cars from this era really succeeded, is because they kind of succeeded, they kind of achieved what they were going for. They weren't going for too much, too soon. This went for smooth and luxury, and it accomplished that, so you can't complain when you're driving a car like this. It's such a pleasure to drive. And this car, it's so smooth. It's a weird feeling driving something else and then driving this and then driving that something else again, because you drive another car and you're like, this feels normal, and then you drive this and you're like, wow, this is smooth. And sometimes you don't even notice how smooth it is if you're not really looking out for it, but then you get back into that other car and you're like, wow, the Grand Marquis was like unbelievable smooth. I might be talking this car up a lot, but people who own this will probably share the same sentiment. High mileage, smooth ride, takes corners well, responsive steering, a lot of power for, a luxury vehicle, nice little engine, a lot of, good features. Even though it doesn't have a lot of features, all the features are needed and good. What a fantastic car. You just get that feeling that, I feel like I'm driving luxury. Like, I feel like I could take people to, drive a celebrity in this, and, they wouldn't feel a thing. Because again, not only is the steering smooth and the ride smooth, but the brakes are also very, very, very smooth. It's got very smooth brakes. you can kind of ease into a stop pretty well. You can kind of ease on the gas a little bit. Get up to speed pretty fast while not compromising smoothness. Now it's, I don't really drive this daily anymore like I used to, mainly because, lack of AC in Florida is a little bit of a death sentence, even though it's, been a little cold. But, I also don't want this to have any difficulties and, mechanical problems. I know that sound, that weird moving sound that you heard when I opened up the hood, I look on forums and it seems like people with similar or the same problem with the same sound as me, it seems like it's idle air control valve, which easy fix, easy enough, but you start touching things in these cars that are, this old, and things start breaking, and, pieces start breaking off, and bolts get stripped, and screws get stripped, and everything just craps out. Things become warped, bend, and you don't really want to mess too much with a car this old unless it's, all new parts and stuff, and you've kept up with the parts, and that's unrealistic if you're on a budget, Now, this is definitely one of those cars that you can see on the street and instantly recognize. Immediately, you're gonna say, even if you don't exactly know the differences between the two, you could at least say, like, oh, that's a Crown Vic, or oh, that's a Grand Marquis. And they do have cult followings. People collect these, they collect Crown Vics, and they show them off at shows. They clean them up, they make them good, and they show them off at shows and at places and meets and all those different things, and they've really got cult followings. It's crazy. You wouldn't think that they do if you're just a normal person that sees them on the street, or maybe you drive one and you're not really into cars, but they have a pretty big cult following, and it's pretty cool to see. Left turn, I will actually push the steering wheel down and showcase the first and second gears on this, just in case you ever wanted to see it. I'm not sure how many POV videos there are of this car and the Crown Vic, and I don't know how many of them usually do this, but I think you could put it there. That way the steering wheel isn't too far. And down one more. Now I'm pretty not so good with auto manuals, I guess. It's just a weird feeling shifting in an auto. I don't know why. Maybe other people feel the same, but it could just be me as well. Alright. Let's come around this turn. Now again, that was pretty crappy shifting on my part. I don't tow things, nor do I use auto manuals. I mean, I have in the past, Kia Sportage, I think, and it works pretty well. I'm not too terrible at it, but it just feels weird when it's not in an H pattern, and I don't know, maybe I'm just not used to it, or it's weird doing it without a clutch. I'm not sure, but I'm not the best at it. It was pretty messy, but you know, that's if you were ever towing and you know, in this car and you needed those, or maybe you just needed to test first and second gear or something. I guess that's how you would do it. But yeah, it's a pretty nice car. It's definitely not, you know, not a car to take lightly. You don't want to, you know, pull up at the drag strip or at the racetrack, and well, you wouldn't really see this at a racetrack, but you don't want to pull up to a drag strip and, you know, you're going against a guy in one of these and you're like, yeah, I got him easily. You know, nobody would really do that. I feel like if you're into drag racing, you probably know what most cars you see on the road could be capable of, or, you know, you probably see some drag Crown Vics or Grand Marquis pretty often. But maybe you're a noob, or you've never seen these before, or maybe these aren't as popular as I'm thinking they might be. But I don't know, I don't do drag racing. Yeah, this car, over the past like 12, 13 years we've owned this car, it hasn't really given us that many issues. It's gone Florida to New York to Florida, you know, plenty and plenty of times. It's driven, you know, within Florida a ton, you know, east to west, west to east, north to south. It's driven plenty of miles, as you can see. I mean, I'm not sure if you can see it from there. I think the dash is a little too dark to see from where the camera is, but I digress. Yeah, 358,000 miles. Obviously, it's going to have some problems by now. It's not going to, you know, have the same amount of power that it used to. It's not going to sound the same as it used to. The mechanisms aren't going to work as they used to. But, you know, it's a simple car. You don't expect this to have all the bells and whistles. You just have the car, and it has what it has, and you don't care that it doesn't have more. It's okay if it doesn't have more. Nobody's really dying to have a massive touch screen, or, you know, a super thorough digital dash, or you know, super adaptive cruise control, or any of that, which, now that I think of it, is a good time to do cruise control. In this car, you need to be going at least 35 miles an hour, although I think that's the case with most cars, if not all, that have cruise control. Just press on and then coast, and then boom, take your foot off and speed control, or then you hit the brakes, or you press the gas and it goes off, and then you press on, coast, which I think that's what I did before. Actually, hit the gas and it doesn't turn it off. I'm not sure why I said that, but if you kind of have your foot on the gas, you could feel it going back and forth and, you know, slowing itself down. It's pretty cool. And you just press off and it turns off. Set acceleration. Off. I don't really use cruise control like that. I kind of like having my foot on the pedal. I'm not sure why. A lot of people don't. They'll tire out, or maybe they just like the cruise control. Maybe I'm just weird. I don't know. It also has these buttons on the side here. No, the AC hasn't come on yet. Also has these buttons on the side here. They stick. Not like they, you know, I need them to work anyways. The AC and the radio both don't work. So, it's whatever. Roll down the window here. coming up on the last turn up here. Well, not the last turn, but coming up at our destination, you know, the end of the route. And very pleasurable drive, a nice feeling steering wheel, nice feeling brakes, throttle response, steering response, the power that it has, torque, all of that. It all feels good, you know. And dare I say, this is probably the most reliable American car ever made, bar maybe the Crown Vic, but it's the same car basically, same engine, same chassis, base pretty much. So, yeah, it was a good video. I enjoyed driving this around. I hope what I'm talking about isn't too misguided. I hope the audio sounds good. I hope the video isn't too aggressive. I think this has stabilization. I hope I, you know, looked at it, you know, enough of the car in the video. I hope it wasn't too, you know, misguided and whatnot. Front bumper or something underneath it is a little low hanging. That's another one of the problems with this car, and it kind of gets caught on things pretty easily. So it sounds like I'm scraping the bumper, but it's something beneath the bumper, behind it. I hope the video was good enough. I'm still kind of new to this POV thing, and last time I used a head strap with my phone, which unfortunately kind of sucked. This time I'm using a DJI Osmo 4. Let's hope it worked a little bit better. And, you know, you saw enough of the steering wheel and enough of outside, and the audio sounded good, and I hope I wasn't rambling on too much about random things, and hope I left enough, you know, no talking footage in there for people who don't like the commentary to kind of just watch. So yeah, it was a good video. I'll see you guys another time. Goodbye.